Welcome to the Cool Health Podcast, where we unlock groundbreaking research in health and wellness by bringing you the latest in health news and in-depth interviews with experts in their fields. We're here to make health cool again. All right. Well, Jin-Xiong, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you, Jack.
Oh,
Nice to be with you.
it's amazing to have you on. And it's been a long time coming because for someone who has taken your products, looked into your research, you're definitely breaking ground into science and the research of longevity. And, I love to hear more. So tell me this, where has your background begun and how did you get started with your current research and maybe just science in general?
Sure. So I have been an academic scientist for over 30 years. I worked as a professor in multiple medical schools. I was an educator for doctors, and I uh, directed a very large research team consisting of both PhD scientists and MD scientists. And in my long academic career, I have covered many different topics, from studies of childhood diseases, especially type 1 diabetes, all the way to age-related diseases. And after all these years, what I realized is, I was not getting younger chronologically, and physically, mentally, I was doing fine. And but I also knew that we have to take actions to prevent aging-related diseases if we want to extend our health span. So it's a kind of a selfish motivation for me to get into what I'm doing now, which is more in the longevity, anti-aging, or wellness field. So, primarily, for two reasons. Number one, we too many people don't live a healthy life for as long as they possibly can. If you look at all the aging-related diseases, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, they all started appearing in people's 50s and 60s and maybe a little later.
Right.
Based on how we are made, based on our genes, we should be able to live healthy well beyond the 90s or even 100. Why most people cannot? The reason is we have too many suboptimal health conditions that I call sub health, and we are not having a good lifestyle as we probably should, and well, at least most people don't. And there are many actions that we can take easily to extend our health span or number of healthy years that we can live by a decade, 2 decades, even 3 decades. So I decided to dedicate the rest of my scientific career to help myself and help others to live as long as possible and as healthy as possible. Hopefully, well into the 90s. So my personal goal is being able to play tennis in my 90s and hopefully beyond my 90s.
As you
That's
should.
what I'm trying to do now.
Yes. And that's amazing because so much research is now coming out constituting aging as a disease now. People are now taking consideration, hey, when you are getting to these older stages of life, it's not all about degeneration and sarcopenia and all these neurodegenerative diseases, right? Aging
Hmm.
can be a blissful process, and yeah, you're in the forefront of it. So to get started, I would like to know what's promoting all of these hallmarks of aging, you say? What's leading to all these chronic diseases as people age into their lives?
I thank the amazing sponsor of this podcast, Alitura Naturals, my go-to destination for high-quality skincare products made with the finest ingredients. At Alitura, they use the most pure, nutrient-rich ingredients at the core of every product, from things like wild-crafted sea buckthorn and organic aloe vera to grass-fed colostrum and organic cacao butter. Each of the ingredients is thoughtfully selected, and it has these incredible healing and nourishing properties. Why do I choose them over other skincare? I mean, just from their all-natural ingredients, guys. Alitura takes pride in using only ethically sourced, natural, and organic materials to create their powerful formulas, ensuring your skin gets the best possible care without harsh chemicals. It's scientifically proven and effective. Each ingredient in their products is backed by thorough scientific research to maximize effectiveness in supporting skin health and anti-aging. And finally, it was created by an expert, Andy Nilo, a former model and actor, founded Alitura after a life-changing accident, and this led him to develop his own transformative skincare solutions. So, guys, join the thousands of satisfied customers who have discovered the stunning results of Alitura's exceptional skincare line. Use my code JEK20, all caps JEK20. Get yourself a discount. This stuff is truly amazing, guys.
I mean, with war health issues, or with life in general, there are two major components. One is the genetic component and the genes that we inherit from our parents. And secondly is what you can call environmental factors, or you can call it external factors, or non-genetic factors, let's put it this way, okay? And I prefer to call them modifiable factors because genes are inherited from parents and they usually don't change unless in special situations. And but the modifiable factors, including diet, exercise, and exposure to the external environment, X-rays, toxins, and so on, and or lifestyle. So the genes and the modifiable factors work together. They interact to produce a health outcome. So the environment modifies the genes that we have, and they work together. They determine our health, how long we live, how active we can be, and what diseases that we may develop, and even when we may develop these diseases. So everything comes down to the gene environment interaction.
Understood.
So since we cannot change our genes, but we're in control of the modifiable factors, our own behavior in many different aspects. So the way to extend our health span is really to take actions based on the genetic architecture that everyone has. You want to do it in a proactive way, and you want to do it in a personalized and precise way. And now we actually have all the tools and most of the knowledge needed to make a big difference in our own respective life.
I see. So what you're saying is that we have all a set of genetics that is inherited from our family and, a set of DNA that we're given with, from birth. But a lot of research is coming out now that there's a whole new side to it, which is it the study of epigenetics, where these transcription factors are modifiable, and how the environment, what we're eating, our emotional status, the toxins can alter the expression of these genes. And that you're saying that plays a huge component into how we age, right? My question, it's funny, I was thinking when I first came to mind is methylation. And before we get there, actually, I want to define what is health span and what is lifespan. What's the
Yeah.
difference?
So health span is the number of years that you stay healthy, you are active, you are able to do the many things that you wish to do. You are not lying in bed.
Right.
Okay, you are not bound to a wheelchair. I'm not trying to say being a wheelchair is not good, but if you have to be bound to a wheelchair or you have to stay in bed all the time, that's not a healthy life, right?
Understood. Yep.
So you don't want to have the major diseases. So how many years you can stay off the major diseases or the immobility, and that's defined as health span. Lifespan is easy. It's how many years you are alive.
Right.
Whether you are in bed or you are on the tennis court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, put it in a simple way is, can I play tennis or play your favorite sport? Can I do the things that I want to do? Can I continue to contribute to society? And that's really the health span issue. Unfortunately, now, even though our lifespan is it's around 80 years in most industrialized countries. In some countries like Hong Kong, it's a little over 80. In the United States, it was close to 80. Now it has decreased to about 78. That's the life expectancy.
Right.
So how many years that you expect to live if you have the national average? And that's the lifespan. But if you look at how many years people can stay active and without a disease, that's really only 50, maybe 60 years. So you have about 20 years that you are alive, but you are not able to do what everyone likes to do. The delta between the lifespan and the health span is something that I am very interested in. And I know there are many people who want to extend lifespan. I want to extend lifespan as well. But that's a very different question. It's a different problem, and it requires a different set of tools. If you are talking about the maximum lifespan,
Right.
if we can extend health span, by definition, we can also extend lifespan.
Understood.
Because many of us die of major diseases or injuries or accidents. I mean, that's a part of what we have to do to stay healthy and live long. It's not just the diseases, but I emphasize you want to stay injury free, right? Because injuries, accidents can kill us as well as diseases. You have to take a holistic approach to extend both health span and lifespan.
I see. So health span can be defined as living as healthy as possible, regardless of your age. You might be 60,
Right.
but compared to your friend, you can be still playing tennis, enjoying life, while your friend is bedridden, and that has to do with your health span. Whereas your lifespan, you're 60, that's it. It can also be referred to as chronological versus biological age. Chronological, you're 60 years old, but biological, you might be 50 years old in terms of how your body functions. So I want to get into that because you're researching key important aspects that relate to this aging, and the company that you run, Jinfiniti, has ways to test and optimize these things. In the forefront of what you're looking into is NAD. And I would like to know, what is NAD and what is the research that you are finding out about NAD?
Sure. Maybe I can say a few words about our general philosophy to extend the health
Yes,
span.
talk about Jinfiniti in general. What do you come about?
Yeah, and then we can come down to specifically to NAD and maybe a few other important issues.
I like it.
So at Jinfiniti, we advocate a program that we call TAO, TAO. Okay, and I don't want to get into too much philosophical considerations because actually Tao is ancient Chinese philosophy, and we're not going into that. Tao here stands for test, act, and optimize. These are the three actions that everyone can take or should take to optimize their health span or extend their health span. And test is very important because test allows you to identify what are the major issues you have. And it allows us to identify the weakest links that everyone has. So you can take actions in a very precise and personalized and proactive way. So test, act. But if you only test and act, that's not enough because you need to know whether the actions you are taking are actually working or not. So what do you have to do? You have to test it again to assess the efficacy or lack of efficacy of your personalized action. So you complete this loop and you continue this loop.
I see.
You test, you act, and you optimize by retesting.
I see.
So by using this simple approach, you can actually achieve great outcomes in extending health span or fending off diseases and stay off injuries. And that's a very simple program that I'm trying to educate as many people as possible. And obviously, we can we have a lot of information on our website. Your listeners can come to our website and read about it. And we have professionals who can talk to them and try to give them advice.
Yeah, we'll put all the links down below. You have great blog posts on how key components play a role into aging and hallmarks of aging and all these different type of diseases. And you're saying we can prevent them by testing them, by acting upon them, and then optimizing. So let's get into the testing. You're doing numerous testing with Jinfiniti. What are you guys testing for, and how do we activate and optimize it?
Sure. So at Jinfiniti, we specialize at developing new and innovative biomarkers that other hospitals or companies don't test or cannot test. And with my scientific background, I don't want to do things that other people can do or can do better than I can. So I try to discover new ways to do things. And in the longevity field, the first thing that I decided to do was to look into the important functions or biomarkers that play a role in health span, in lifespan, and the ones that other people are not able to test. And we spend months and months studying. We started with hundreds of different biomarkers or potential biomarkers, and we narrowed down to about 24 key biomarkers now that we believe should be tested in every person.
Really quick, let's say, what can we define biomarkers so some people understand? What's a biomarker? How do you test a biomarker?
Sure. The biomarker is basically a biomolecule, a protein, a metabolite, or can be a gene, anything that's a molecule that's related to life or biology is a biomarker.
So something like cholesterol you can test for.
Like cholesterol, vitamin D, and or inflammatory proteins.
C-reactive protein, your insulin.
Yeah.
Your blood glucose, right? Okay.
Your blood glucose and anything that's measurable from your blood, urine, or saliva, or from tissue. Anything that is a molecule that can be measured, and it's called a biomarker.
Okay.
And usually, like a blood pressure, is probably not called a biomarker.
Right.
Okay, so it's a molecule basically, and or we can just call it a test, a medical test, and scientists kind of like to call them biomarkers.
I like it too.
The lay language would be called a test.
We're testing our biology. We're seeing what's inside.
Testing our biology, yeah, a medical test that everyone would understand. So
okay.
The medical test and biomarker are kind of used interchangeably. No difference.
Okay. Okay, so we're testing these, and you have found key specific ones. There are a boatload you can test, right? But you're looking into, you said 25. Now, what are you finding?
So we are now routinely offering 24 biomarkers, and they fall into 6 major functional categories. And so the first one is called inflammation. I think most people understand what's inflammation. And inflammation is the underlying one of the underlying causes of many age-related diseases. That would be COVID-19, diabetes, you name it. And all major age-related diseases have inflammatory background.
Inflammation, yeah.
So inflammation plays a very important role. But there are many other functions that are as important, if not more important, than inflammation. Unfortunately, most of the people don't know or don't talk about it, including many of the mainstream physicians and doctors.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the second category that we pay a lot of attention to is called oxidative stress, or it's called free radicals. Okay, free radicals are produced when we consume our food and make energy by degrading the food that we eat.
Right.
So when the cellular energy was called ATP, and ATP is what runs our cells with the energy for cells.
The battery.
So when we produce ATP from food, and we also produce free radicals as a byproduct. And when you produce too much free radicals, and they accumulate in our body, in our cells, and outside of our cells, and they damage our DNA, and they damage our proteins, they damage our cell membrane and our vessels. And so oxidative stress, again, is probably even more important than inflammation, and is another underlying causes of most major diseases.
I see. Yeah.
It's especially bad in America. And if you just take Caucasians, white Americans, and the oxidative stress level is so much higher than European Caucasians. And that
Interesting.
comes down to our lifestyle here and our lack of physical activities. And again, everything comes down to the environment or the lifestyle,
Right.
because the gene pool for white Americans are not really different from European Caucasians,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also look at, let's say, Chinese in living in America versus Chinese living in China. The oxidative stress level in America is much higher.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's not really related to the genes that we have, but more related to the lifestyle, the food source, the portions of food, and
Mm-hmm.
how much we exercise or not. So oxidative stress is, I believe, a key link between the unhealthy lifestyle and the major aging-related diseases. But very few people, including physicians, are paying any attention to oxidative stress.
I
We
see.
need we need to talk about it. We need to talk it up. We need to reduce it, and we know how to do it. It's
Amazing.
it's lack of education, lack of knowledge, and lack of will to change it, and
Right.
it's doable. All right, so that's something that we have to pay much more attention if we want to stay uh, away from diseases.
Okay.
Yeah. The third one that's very important is you mentioned a little bit cellular senescence, and that's becoming very hot topic in the anti-aging field, and but also is gaining recognition in the biomedical research community as well in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And what's senescence? Senescent cells are basically aged cells. We call them zombie cells.
Mm-hmm.
They are like zombies. Okay, they are not dead. Zombies are not dead, but they sit there and they don't do a lot of productive things.
Right.
And not only they don't do much, but they secrete a lot of bad molecules, bad proteins, and especially inflammatory proteins. So they not only don't do anything, but the proteins and other molecules they secrete have a negative impact on the function of healthy cells around them, but also remotely, because what they spit out, what they secrete, can get into the bloodstream and travel to other parts of our body, and
Okay.
causing other cells in remote areas to not function properly.
All right. So we have these cells, these senescent cells that are coined zombie cells. Basically, a cell that once was, a functioning member of society that now has turned kind of rogue, where it's not splitting correctly, it's not growing anymore, and it's kind of just dead but still there. So it's kind of this debris that is
Mhm.
spitting out these, would you say, there's a host of things, but inflammatory
No,
cytokines.
we call them SASP or SASP.
Okay.
We call them senescence associating secreting phenotype. And
Just junk, right?
It's basically bad molecules that have a negative function on our body.
Okay, so zombie cells are they're doing bad things once they turn a zombie cell.
Yeah.
They're affecting everything around it and all the other cells through proteins, through inflammatory
Yeah.
cytokines, etc.
Yeah.
Okay,
And remotely, not just around them. I mean, that's the scary part.
around them too, right?
Yeah, around them and everywhere else.
So just a cascade of negative.
Yeah.
I see. So you have these three, let's summarize. Most people look at inflammation as a key,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they're often overlooking oxidative stress, which is usually produced, through the creation of ATP, through the Krebs cycle and
Mm-hmm.
oxidative phosphorylation,
Right.
and maybe even the electron transport chain. But when we have too much, we're out of balance and we create these free radicals,
Yeah.
right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is like almost like a crazy, crazy cell that lacks an electron. Now it's like this war on the inside, right? And
Yeah.
so we have that, and now we have senescent cells.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like warfare going on in the body. You're saying cellular warfare.
Oh yeah. I mean, these are the top three. I can continue and go on with a few others.
Yeah,
And another one that I want to add is called glycation.
glycation. Okay,
Yeah, glycation is very important because most people probably know that diabetes is diagnosed by the glycation of hemoglobin, right? And so not only many proteins can be glycated, and that cause a bunch of health issues.
right.
And so what so these are the four major areas, and the fifth one that's really important is what I call micronutrients.
Micronutrients.
And so you can put a word vitamins into this category. Vitamin D, vitamin C,
B.
vitamin B,
Okay,
and but I also put NAD into this category.
I see. As a micronutrient.
Correctly or incorrectly, I mean, we can debate about it, but I cannot have too many categories. And, NAD is a vitamin, if you want.
Wow, I never knew.
The function of NAD is very similar to what other vitamins. So, I think NAD is probably the most important vitamins or most important micronutrients that our body needs. And unfortunately, NAD declines with age, and most people in their 40s, 50s, and beyond are suboptimal or deficient in this particular let's call it vitamin, so everyone understand it.
Right.
Okay, and for the lack of a better terminology that everyone understands.
No, that's great.
So just consider NAD as a vitamin. A vitamin. Actually, the product we take to make NAD is in the vitamin B3 category.
Right. Yeah. So we got, you're saying, summarize again, glycation, and that's, from what I hear, some people might know advanced glycation end products, which glycation is almost like this charring of the cells. It's basically damage to the cells, and glycation can result from too much sugar, right?
Yeah, it is. It's too much sugar, and sugar is attached to protein, and
To the
that's called
hemoglobin, right?
yeah, hemoglobin or many other proteins in our blood.
I see. So we have this glycation, and then micronutrient deficiencies. You might be nutrient deficient in vitamin B, vitamin B3, B12, B3, right? You might be deficient in vitamin D, but you're saying there's a key, as we can call it, a vitamin called NAD that's crucial, and that plays a role in everything, right? But that's often overlooked. So
Yeah.
let's explain the importance of NAD and why it's getting lower with age, but there's also other reasons.
Hostage tape. we're here to discover the revolutionary way to improve your sleep and overall health. Mouth taping is a natural and effective method for promoting nasal breathing during sleep, which unlocks a world of incredible benefits, including enhanced sleep quality, reduced snoring, improved mental focus, and boosted overall health. Also, it's a safe and comfortable design, especially designed to be hypoallergenic, gentle on the skin, and easy to remove. It allows you to get in deep sleep states, and I'm telling you, when I put on my Oura Ring and check my scores, they're always so much better when I use hostage tape. For the discount code, guys, it's going to be John67447 for 10% off. Once again, John67447 for 10% off. If you really want to enhance your sleep, get amazing deep sleep, and feeling incredibly refreshed, hostage tape.
Yeah. So let's talk about the main functions of NAD.
Okay, main functions. All right.
NAD for your listeners who don't know what it is, and we call it a vitamin. The full name is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide.
Understood.
Mouthful. Just NAD. Now, NAD is what we call a core enzyme. For those who have some biology background, the core enzyme is a vitamin that helps other enzymes to function.
I see.
Most of the vitamins may be involved in the function of a few proteins, maybe a few dozens of proteins. Guess how many proteins require NAD to function?
How many?
Over 500.
Jeez. In the body?
So, in the body.
500 functions.
500 enzymes.
That seems
and
pretty
that's
important.
more than 500 functions.
That seems kind of important, right?
Yes, I guess, if one enzyme in your body doesn't function well, you may be in big trouble.
What, 500?
But without NAD, over 500 enzymes may not function properly. Then you are in big trouble.
Wow.
Now, what's the number one function of NAD? That's to help your cells to produce ATP, the cellular energy.
I see.
Without ATP, we would be dead. Without NAD, we cannot produce ATP. We have no energy. And it's just like your car runs out of gas. What the car does? It cannot move.
Even with gas, it can't move.
Even with gas, it cannot move. So if we don't have NAD, we cannot produce ATP. We're dead.
Right.
That's how simple it is. So you must have enough NAD for your cells to produce enough ATP and produce ATP efficiently. If you can produce ATP efficiently, you can reduce the free radicals that are produced as a byproduct when you make ATP.
The energy, ATP, right? If you went to 7th grade science, you know ATP is the battery of the cells. And in order to do all of the stuff, the functions that's going on that we're talking about, you need ATP in order to create antioxidants and create energy and feel great. So NAD is crucial to make the energy that is vital.
Yeah. About 70% of adults complain about chronic fatigue, or how many adults feel energetic all the time. Not too many. We all complain about being tired at some time point. But for those who complain about chronic fatigue, and the number one reason is because they don't have enough NAD. We can make people feel better, feel more energetic by increasing their NAD level with a very simple powder or a pill. And that can be easily done now.
Okay.
And so, NAD has so many other functions. It helps your cells to fight against mutations in your DNA that causes cancer, and because we constantly have changes in our DNA that we call the mutation, and but our cells know how to correct the changes that occurred in our DNA, and that's called DNA damage repair. Okay.
Also, is there a thing called like genome surveillance system?
That's a genome surveillance. It's
Right.
the same terminology.
It's like people looking out for the bad.
Yeah, yeah. We have ways to survey what's happening in our DNA in our cells. But once you find a mutation or a change in our DNA that's not supposed to happen, and you have to get it repaired.
Okay.
And
okay.
We have the repair mechanism in our cells, but the DNA damage repair requires NAD.
I see.
The enzyme that repairs our DNA damage requires NAD to function.
Okay, so we need the guys to have energy through NAD.
Yeah, we need to have NAD to have energy. We need to have NAD to keep our cells, our DNA healthy.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a good night of sleep, you need NAD, because NAD regulates many of the genes involved in sleeping.
I see. A lot of stuff happens when you sleep. A lot of action.
Yeah. NAD is also a very potent anti-inflammatory compound.
Interesting.
And it can greatly benefit people with arthritis or joint inflammation, back pain, knee problems, heart failure, kidney issues, diabetes, you name it. I mean, when something is involved in the function of over 500 different enzymes, and if it's defective, it can cause anything.
Right.
And if you if you optimize the NAD level, and all benefits are possible. I have heard so many unbelievable stories after people taking our product.
Yeah, even myself. When we did your biomarker test, I was unfortunate enough to be given it, and I realized I had incredibly low NAD levels for someone my age. I'm 22, but the guy who gave it to me, he was saying I had NAD levels as someone who's 60 years old. So my question is, you say NAD declines with age, but what are some other reasons why NAD might be low in people?
Yeah. So in general, young people have a higher NAD levels than older people. So that's a clear decline with age. What we have found is about 25% of young children are also defective in NAD, including my 6-year-old daughter.
Wow.
And her level is only about 60% of what her age group should have.
An optimal range. Okay.
Yeah. So age is only one aspect. I believe that our data are indicating a genetic component as well, and we have seen low NAD levels running in families, and we also know that people with Asian genetic background, Chinese, especially Vietnamese and Koreans, tend to have much lower level of NAD than Caucasian.
I see.
So there's no study, vigorous study on how genes influence NAD level, but data that we have clearly indicate a genetic component. So, but irrespective of the causes, I'm a very pragmatic guy, and what I want to do is to find safe and effective ways to get the NAD level to where it needs to be. And finding the causes is great, but it's more important to get your NAD level to where it should be. I mean, the story is very similar to vitamin D. Okay, when children are born, we supplement every infant with vitamin D drops. I mean, in industrialized countries in the U.S. and most countries now, you gave infants vitamin D supplementation. That's because they don't have enough vitamin D. So it's not. We don't have to really understand why the NAD level is low. That's a more academic question. I mean, since I was an academic scientist, I am interested, obviously, but now I focus my energy on how we can get the problem solved instead of knowing exactly what's causing the deficiency in every person.
So it's fair to say a lot of people nowadays are deficient in NAD, this crucial vitamin coenzyme that plays over 500 roles in the body. We are all pretty low for it, but now you're saying we have a solution, and you've created maybe a way to optimize. We've tested it, we're acting on it, and now we're optimizing it. So how can we fill our NAD levels?
Yeah, so the best way to get NAD level up is to use what we call a NAD precursor. What a precursor is, I mean, it's easier to build. I call it a building block for NAD. NAD is a relatively bigger molecule, but the basic components are a molecule called NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. Okay. And then if you chop the NMN, if you chop NAD a little bit, it becomes NMN. You chop NMN a little more, and it becomes NR, or nicotinamide riboside. And then if you chop it again, it becomes nicotinamide. Okay? So you can imagine that you can give people NMN or NR or even nicotinamide. Nicotinamide is vitamin B3.
I see.
Okay. So you can give vitamin B3. Vitamin B3 can help people increase their NAD level a little bit, but it's too far away. It takes 3 steps to make NAD from nicotinamide. So not very efficient. You can get the levels up on average for about 10%. In some people, the NAD level can go up 30 to 50%, but it only works for a small proportion of individuals. It can benefit some people, not very efficient. And then you go to the next level, which is nicotinamide riboside or NR, and the best one is NMN, which is very close to NAD. It takes only 1 step to make NAD from NMN.
Okay.
Now, so you want to give this NAD building blocks or precursors for your cells to make NAD.
I see.
And there are many NAD precursors on the market, both NMN and NR. They do, if you buy a good product, a product of high quality, it can potentially increase the NAD level. So what we have done at Jinfiniti is very different. We use the NAD precursor, the NMN, because that's the best. But we also put 3 other ingredients into our formulation. It's a patent-pending formulation. So we have not only NMN, we have nicotinamide, another component, and we have D-ribose, or you can just call them ribose.
D-ribose.
When you combine nicotinamide and ribose, you make nicotinamide riboside, which is the two-step precursor, right? And we also put another ingredient called creatine.
Creatine.
Yeah, creatine.
Interesting.
So that's very important, because not only we help you produce ATP, we help your cells to store the ATP in excess when you are not doing physical activity. So
right.
when you have excess ATP, we store your ATP, and we'll have the ATP release when you are playing tennis. Right, you're a tennis coach. You know that you need your ATP stored.
Right. Okay, if I understand, you're saying in order to get our NAD levels up, we need to give it the proper building blocks. And there's almost kind of a hierarchy of building blocks where it starts with NAD at the top, and it goes to nicotinamide mononucleotide, the NMN, and then it goes to the nicotinamide riboside, the NR, and then the nicotinamide at the bottom. What about niacin? Is that the same as nicotinamide?
Niacin is another vitamin B3. Okay. Niacin is another precursor of NAD. But niacin, to make NAD from niacin, you have to go through a very long loop.
Okay. So these bottom ones, it takes a lot of steps in order to make NAD.
Yeah, it takes a lot of enzymes to make NAD. And what we have found is a very small number of people who take high doses of niacin do have extremely high levels of NAD. We have about 10 people among the thousands and thousands of people we tested, and they are taking 500 to 1,500 milligrams of niacin daily, and their NAD levels are potentially too high, 3 times of the minimum that we recommend. So with niacin, if you are taking high doses of niacin, you definitely want to get your NAD tested to know whether the NAD level is too high. But most people actually don't elevate the NAD level. So it's kind of a two extreme situation. For most people, it actually doesn't do anything in terms of NAD. And in a small number of people, you get the NAD way too high. So what that means is, depending on what the enzymes you have in the niacin to NAD pathway, you may be very efficient at turning niacin into NAD, or you don't.
Okay.
There's no way for you to guess or for me to guess. And what I can do is test your NAD level and let you know what the niacin is increasing your NAD or not, or is increasing too high.
Understood.
It's very interesting. It's either very high or nothing. I mean, we found no one in the middle.
Right. Okay. So at Jinfiniti, we can...
Why is it so? I don't know.
Yeah. And so we're testing it. We're seeing these levels that people have. And now, let's say in order to get these NAD levels up naturally and almost organically, we need to give it the proper building blocks. And you have a specific proprietary blend that entails that. So that's amazing. I mean, the ability to increase that through, and I understand, let's talk about the product, because I take it, I love it. My NAD levels, I did the test. They went from, a low amount to a nice balanced amount. And I feel the difference. So maybe let's talk about the product.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the product is currently is a powder form, and we do have plans to make pills. And I don't like capsules. I don't plan to make capsules. Many people make capsules, and to make capsules, you have to put in other fillers that I don't like,
I
and
like
I
that.
refuse to make capsules.
Good.
The powder actually tastes very nice.
It does.
It's nice lemonade, and and it, it's it, it's not it's not so convenient when you travel all the time, but that's why we want to make some pills for to help people who travel a lot. But otherwise, you just dissolve the powder into a small amount of water and drink it. And we recommend that people take it twice a day. And we have a recommended dose that everyone start with in about 3 to 4 weeks. And we the ideal way to do it is to take a baseline test before you take any NAD product, and then you get on the product for 3 to 4 weeks. It only takes about 1 to 2 weeks to get the NAD level increase. And some people want to take a test, retest in 3 to 6 months. I said no. Why you want to wait for so long? Because if it doesn't work for you, I don't want you to wait for 6 months and you're wasting money and wasting more important time that
Right.
you can manage your health.
Mm-hmm.
So we recommend retest in 3 to 4 weeks, and based on the retest results, and either you can stay at the same dosage, or you can increase or decrease your dosage depending on the test results. So we use the test to really get people's NAD level in the optimum range.
See.
That's it's a very scientific way, and it's guided by data. And I don't want to express my opinions because I rather prefer to let the data to tell the story, not what I say. And I'm here to help people understand and the approaches and help them to interpret the data, not to express my opinion.
So there's no tribalism behind it. The data is showing when you take the proper building blocks, we can raise these. My question is, what have you noticed with your supplement? What's the data behind it? Have you seen improvement? And how has, the people who have taken it reacted to it?
Yeah, so we have done several clinical studies, and in our clinical studies, we can increase the NAD level to the optimum range for about 90% of the participants.
90%, wow.
90%. And we also have data in many functional medicine clinics, and in the clinical setting, in one clinical setting, that's Dr. Delaney in the Boston area, and he's an integrative cardiologist. So he has patients in their 80s and 90s, and often with cardiac issues.
I see.
So in his clinics, after the first dosing, he can get the NAD level optimized in about 70% of his patients, and then we adjust the dosage, and we can get about 85% of his patient's NAD level to the optimum range.
Wow.
And he sees great outcome on energy levels, obviously, on heart conditions, on various clinical issues. So the most benefit that we see is clearly the increase of energy, as you have experienced. I mean, you're young and you're 22 years old, and you don't have other health issues, so you are not going to experience improvement in other areas that you don't have any complaints. And clearly, even in very young people, when we get your NAD optimized, your energy level will be improved. I, I can use myself as an example. So when you talk about, I'm a tennis player. I'm not a great one, but I've been playing tennis for a long time. So starting around 40 years of age, I'm 61 years old this year, and around 40 years of age, I had to take a Tylenol before I play tennis.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't recover for many days, and I had many other issues as well. So after being on the NAD product for a few months, and now I have been on it for 2 years, I don't need to take Tylenol. I recover immediately. I just played this morning. I feel great now.
Amazing.
And so, I really had to warm up for 1 hour before I can start playing.
Yeah.
Because, the wrist issues and my back, my shoulder, and now I can go warm up for 5 minutes. I'm ready to go. So it really has improved my tennis game by, about 20 years. I recover much faster, and I'm 61 years old. I can play 4 hours of tennis without a stop.
Wow. A lot of time.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. Without this product, I don't think I'm able to do it. I have a lot of my teammates. They complain, why you can play without a stop. I said, that's because the product I have. And also, I had asthma issues for many years. I don't take asthma medicine anymore. That's gone. I had knee issues. That's gone.
Wow.
I have sciatica and sciatic nerve problems. That's also gone. It's a product that's as magic as it can get. And I'm not a believer in magic, but this is something that I have never dreamed of.
Wow.
And we didn't set to create this product. It's primarily my wife, and she's an analytical chemist, and with a food science background, and she's the one who formulated the product. We're trying to solve some other problems and stumbled on this unbelievable formulation that
wow.
So many people are really pleased with.
Yeah, and the data proves that you're saying 90% increase. 90% of your group had an increase in NAD levels to an optimal range. You're saying even at 40 years old, you had to take pills, your back hurt, and now it's changing through NAD because of the role it plays in the human body.
Yeah.
And now we have a formulation for it. That's absolutely amazing. And that seems like it's at the, you guys are at the forefront of science, and you're making something that's pure, right? It doesn't have any fillers, no BS, and you're doing it right. So
I don't want to put anything that our body doesn't need. I mean, there's no need. I mean, pure form of ingredients that we must have to give us
it's not common.
the function. And all 4 ingredients, by the way, already exist in our body.
Right.
Okay, these are not foreign substance. I mean, they are all produced in our body. We don't make enough of them, so we have to help our body to produce more, and that's what the product does.
I see. What my question is, with someone who maybe went through the supplement and now has optimal ranges, is there a way to maintain your ranges? Can you still take it, or does it get too high? Or
you have to continue to take the product, and the level peaks around 4 weeks. That's why we recommend retesting after 3-4 weeks. So you continue to take it, the level is not going to continue to climb.
And
You
we can
achieve
test it. We can test it through your company.
Yeah, I test myself every month for 2 years. My level is right around 65 micromolar.
That's good.
And the
It's higher than
minimum
mine.
the minimum I want people to have is 40. And
Okay.
young children normally has between 40 and 60 micromolar. And mine, I wanted to be in the upper level, not near the bottom.
Yeah, I was at 30, and now I know I'm
Yeah,
well above 40. So
yeah,
that's great to know.
yeah.
Oh man. And I like how you guys don't use any fillers. You had one blog post. If we go all the way back to oxidative stress, you talk about antioxidants. And you're
hmm
saying some supplements, people might go, "Oh, I have oxidative stress, and let me take a boatload of antioxidants." What might be the problem with that?
Well, the problem of that is they don't seem to reduce your oxidative stress. I mean, I experiment with various antioxidants myself. I'm for antioxidants. Okay, I'm not against it.
Yeah.
And I take a lot of antioxidants. Vitamin C, vitamin E, and I take a CoQ10.
CoQ10, nice.
Actually, I take a newer form of CoQ10. It's called MitoQ.
PQQ?
And MitoQ, mitochondria.
MitoQ. Oh,
Yeah,
Ozone Clinics has that.
yeah. So I drink a lot of green tea, and I love green tea. It's great.
Amazing polyphenols, right?
And unfortunately, um, it's it's very hard to get rid of the free radicals, and every person may be different. So you really want to test your free radical levels, and we'll have a test for it. And then you want to test them after, and to see what is making any difference for you. So what's really making a difference for me seems to be a product called NAC, which is, again is another
The
precursor
acetylcysteine,
for
right?
for glutathione, and
Glutathione,
that
okay.
it's a precursor for glutathione. Glutathione is not water soluble and it's not easily taken by the cells. But NAC is actually water soluble.
Oh, it's like the building blocks.
Again, it's another building block. So you can see my
I like the
kind of
philosophy,
quest I'm
yes.
taking, right?
Yes.
It, a lot of the vitamins, unfortunately, are not water soluble, but precursors maybe.
Okay.
So you when the final product you need for the function is not water soluble, you may consider a precursor that's water soluble. When
Okay.
there's a precursor that's water soluble, that may in many cases work better than taking a non-water soluble final product.
I see. So like
And in general, that's probably true.
right. So our glutathione level is a great antioxidant. We might, just like you said, the building blocks of NAD, we should take the building blocks for glutathione. There's good
Yeah,
research. I don't know if you looked into it, NAC, the acetylcysteine with glycine. Have you heard?
we have a product and it's not on the market yet. We have a glycine NAC and we have some other ingredients and that we are going to put out.
I need that.
Yeah, we are conducting studies on that, and I don't want to put any product out without very extensive research data because
That's awesome.
I'm not in the business of selling supplements. I'm in this to see outcomes.
I understand. It's not just here to make a quick buck. You let the data
Yeah,
speak, and that's
right.
amazing. Okay, I mean, we got a solution, and I also want to know what are some other ways we can boost. So NAD helps with ATP, which helps with energy in general. What are some other ways we can help our mitochondria make this ATP? I'm thinking of a few, but you know, um, sirtuin activating compounds. What have you heard about those?
Yeah, we actually have a sirtuin test,
Okay.
and a lot of the talks about how to activate the sirtuin, not just about the sirtuins, but about many of the supplements in general are based on theoretical predictions based on the studies in the laboratory on cells or at best in animal models.
Okay.
So
Models.
I have done those studies extensively and they are necessary, but many of the findings on cells or animals may not be translating into a person.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the problem that I have with science in general. You for it's a necessary step, but it's not sufficient because we don't have data on humans, and experts and non-experts start speculating what might happen in a person. I I can do that too, but I don't like to do that because I know how different humans can be from animals and how each person can be different from the next one. And I rather prefer to have data directly from users or consumers, and I think everyone should get their own data and to see what the product they take is actually working for them or not.
Okay.
So my whole philosophy is to provide tools for those who are interested to see what they need and what they take is actually effective or not. I'm a provider of tools for them to make the right choice and to make the right decision and also to make the right changes to what they do. I'm not trying to tell them what to do, what not to do. I mean, sometimes I do tell them when I'm pretty sure, but more importantly, I try to counsel them that what are the scientific principles or the philosophies they should use to make their own best judgment.
Awesome. Now,
And that, I think that's the only way that you can ensure that you are doing the right thing. You're
okay,
making
we must
right
look at the
choices.
data. We must test and see what works in us.
Right.
If we go back, we got the NAD, the senescent cells. You test for those through some enzyme. I forgot what it's called. It's like IgAB or
It's called beta galactosidase.
okay.
I call it simply beta gal.
Beta gal.
Yeah.
Senescent zombie cells. How can we, start doing those? I hear about senolytics nowadays. How can we address these?
Yeah. So the senolytics or supplements or drugs that can eliminate senescent cells are called senolytics, and there are quite a few now. You can go to the pharmaceutical route, like the best one that everyone is talking about is dasatinib, combined with a supplement called quercetin.
Quercetin.
And also, quercetin is actually a very important supplement. It has many different functions. So the protocol is called D plus Q, dasatinib and quercetin combination, and it has shown pretty good outcome in two small clinical trials. And rapamycin is another one that can potentially eliminate senescent cells. So my recommendation usually is you may want to go with some supplements as a first step. The protocol that I use is quercetin plus vitamin C. And quercetin and vitamin C actually have a synergistic effect, and they work together to provide a better outcome. And we have data on a small number of individuals, including myself, and I was able to reduce my beta-gal level. So we do have a senescence test. We test the beta-gal enzyme, and we also test a few cytokines or the inflammatory proteins associated with the senescence. And testing again is the key. You want to test your levels, and then you want to test after taking any senolytic drugs or supplements. I feel much better about NAD than I feel about senescence, even though I'm trying.
Yeah.
The test for senescence is not perfect.
It's murky right now. I understand.
And there is no perfect biomarker or test for senescence. And I don't think there's going to be a perfect test ever.
Right.
Maybe I'm totally wrong, I hope. And the reason I'm saying that is senescent cells are very different. There's not a single type of senescent cells. Senescent cells in different tissues, different cell types can secrete very different substance or juices, if you want. And when you don't have a universal property, you are not going to have a universal test.
Right. Okay.
So testing is going to be very complicated.
Right.
I think our tests do provide useful information, but by no means the test is perfect. Okay.
We're working on it.
And it's better than having nothing, for sure. But is it perfect? No. With NAD, I know it's perfect.
Yeah.
So no problem. But with the senescence, we're still working on it. Many people are still working on it. We have a useful test that can be used. And also in terms of senolytics, and we are still at the very early stages.
Mm-hmm.
What works, what doesn't work, we're not so certain yet.
Yeah.
What we don't want to happen is you think you're killing senescent cells selectively, but you are not. You may be killing some healthy cells as well. Or you may be not doing anything.
Right.
So because we're not so sure, my approach is we monitor your health in a broad way. I try to monitor what's going on in different organs, in all the functional categories. So if the regimen you are taking is causing biomarker changes in the wrong direction, at least you have a warning. You have a warning sign.
Right.
Okay. What you are doing may not be what you desired for, and that I feel very, very confident I can do. Right. So another cautionary note here is for many of the biohackers, and we have a substantial number of people who take large numbers of supplements, and I don't know how much good these supplements are doing for them, but in many individuals, they may be causing harm,
Right.
especially for kidney function.
I see.
I see a lot of issues with kidney function in the biohacker community that no one was paying attention. I think I'm the first one who is sounding 这个 alarm.
That's good to know. There's a lot of optimizers, biohackers, people trying to get a peak performance by throwing a boatload of pills, supplements, IVs, but they don't test, so they can't see the reactions that are occurring. And there's a lot of supplements,
Yeah, I have many customers. My customers, they are not my customers. They become my friends. Okay, I'm not the right business person.
You don't seem like some smirky salesman trying to get a buck.
Yeah, I mean, I treat them as my friends. Some of them come actually stay on my second floor.
That's amazing.
So they send me, long list of supplements, and I have to spend a lot of time to go through them. And obviously, I don't know the safety data on many of the supplements because there are no data available. But at least the testing we do, I give them, some warning signs that this may be an issue that you have to be careful with.
Right.
So I put the safety ahead of everything else, and safety first, efficacy second, and nothing else is that important to me.
That's amazing. What a phenomenal talk this has been. It's been truly informational. To begin, we started with the hallmarks of aging, what you're looking into, the research, and what are we testing now? Key components like NAD, senescence, inflammation, all these things. And we can now use building blocks created from your company to help support our levels and live well into, old age with health span, not just being 90 and on a deathbed, but, we can play tennis at 60 and feel great and not have to pop Tylenol all the time, right? Maybe you could probably keep up with me, right? So
you're a tennis coach.
You don't know though. Maybe you beat me. We'll have to see. Jin-Xiong. Anyways, we're gonna put all of your information about Jinfiniti. Your website's phenomenal. It has a lot of blogs about the research you guys are doing. And all this stuff will be illustrated. So I just have to say thank you once again. You're doing it right. We're testing. You let the data speak. Safety first. And it was such a great point about not just throwing a boatload of pills. Let's be precise and let's see what works. And, it's for the people, which I love. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much. It's really my pleasure to be with you.
Yes, thank you. We'll do it again soon.
All right.
All right, man.
Thanks.
Here's next time. Bye.